Thank you very much, Sonia ji, for honoring me by giving a detailed introduction of mine. And I thank MIT University for giving me this opportunity to be on this platform to share my knowledge and my experience about it. Thank you very much. So, once we are going to talk about the mental health challenges in pandemic, so we need to understand what is pandemic and how it is defined by WHO, the World Health Organization. So in January 2020, the World Health Organization declared the outbreak of a new coronavirus disease, COVID-19, to be a public health emergency of international concern. WHO stated that there is a high risk of COVID-19 spreading to other countries and continents around the world. In March 2020, WHO made the assessment that COVID-19 has actually become a pandemic, which is a disease or called Mahamari across the continents. Now, the WHO and public health authorities around the world are acting currently, as we know, to contain the COVID-19 outbreak. However, the time of crisis is generating a lot of stress throughout the world or across the population of all age groups, all nationalities. The WHO Department of Mental Health and Substance Use of messages that can be used. It is providing messages that can be used in communications to support mental and psychosocial well-being in different target groups during the outbreak. Now, if we come to the mental health challenges in today's time, so what coronavirus has done to us, because this is something which is unprecedented, which is something which has never been experienced or seen before by this generation, not in last hundreds of years after the plague or the smallpox came up, which was not as bad as corona is, as it looks like. It has led to some changes in our lifestyle, actually. Now, these changes can be ugly for some, beautiful for others, actually, and mostly confusing for all because we don't know what it is, when is it going to end, and how will it end with so many lives, so many changes in our thinking patterns, in the way we used to spend, the way we used to stay, the way we used to travel. Everything is being taken care of. So being 24/7 at home, that is the quarantine or the lockdown or the curfew, as our honorable Prime Minister calls it, or which is happening all over the world, it can be very, very daunting sometimes for all of us. And for some, it is a time where we can actually rehabilitate ourselves with our family support, which was never there earlier because people never looked into the situation from that point of view, and optimistic personality patterns. However, there can be few moments where even we might feel helpless. There can be times where we feel physically or mentally exhausted with the feelings of hopelessness. There are some who are having trouble going through these times where we can find ourselves feeling lonely and helpless, which can actually lead to frustration, anxiety, and depressed moods. What is the type of care we are looking towards to the challenges or the care? So, if I go through this slide, if you see this, it's okay to be on a bit of roller coaster right now. Sometimes you'll feel hopeful, sometimes you'll feel sad. There might be a sense of grief at moments and a feeling of gratitude the next. You need to understand the feeling of gratitude and the feeling of grief at this time. It's okay to feel each of those feelings, no matter what anyone else is going through. Your feelings are still valid. This isn't about competition, it's about compassion for others and ourselves. Because it's not only us who is suffering, everybody around us, thousands of people, lakhs of people all over the world. So we can show up for the ride every day, a little braver, a little kinder too, ready to face those highs and lows together. It is important for us to understand that what we can control and what we cannot control at this time, so that we know kind of coping mechanisms we have within ourselves, what is it we can best work upon. Otherwise, we'll keep on thinking, going through the news, going through all kind of fake media, whatever is happening, there is a lot of information overload everywhere. At least we need to understand that we need to understand our capabilities so that we don't exhaust ourselves doing this, doing something which we can't control ourselves. Feelings like exhausted failure inside. So I'll give you a list of things which will help you decide what you can do and what you cannot do in this. The main major concern right now is that people are glued to the TV sets because there is a news, there is a breaking news every minute, and people are counting how many more people have died. What is the casualty rate? What's the morbidity rate? How many people got sick in India, in Delhi, in MP, Tamil Nadu? And there's a lot of drama which media is showing that there was a crowd here and there was lynching there, and this is the crime and this is not. So a lot of political upheaval is also going on at the same time in the backdrop of Corona right now. So we need to decide how much news I read and watch, because the more and more of negativity which is being generated by the media right now, it's bad for our mental health, because that gives a lot of anxiety to us. That makes us very, very insecure if we keep on going through it. And how much time I spend on social media. Thankfully, the government has already put in the fines and the punishment for people spreading the rumors. Otherwise, this is very, very rampant in our country, as we know on social media. Something comes up and it just goes off like fire. And where I direct my energy, how I treat other people. Now, when I say when I direct my energy, like this is the time when the people who are regular onto exercises and workouts, they feel helpless because gyms are closed, the parks are closed. But still, there are a lot of workouts which can happen at home. There are a lot of apps which are there on the TV and on Google Play, like Cult Fitness, to name one. So there are a lot of things which one can go through, register themselves, and they still keep on exercising if you don't want to take an excuse for that. How I like kind of speak and treat other people, that is very, very important, because I think all of us have a very, very low threshold right now of our patience. So we need to be very careful what we are talking, how much we are talking to somebody, how are we treating somebody else, because the corona all of a sudden has become a stigma because of the lot of videos being shared by the media and on the social media, on the Facebook and WhatsApp, that corona people is spitting there and doing this and infecting others, and and other things. So we need to understand that we cannot stigmatize a particular community or a particular group of people who are suffering from this. Then how I choose to self-soothe, I'll come to it later on, like what kind of relaxation I can have, the decisions I make. The decision is like a lot of people, when the lockdown was announced, they started holding a lot of things. It is as if there is no tomorrow. So these decisions have to be very, very relevant decisions. They have to be taken in the good light, understanding that everything is being supported from the back end. So we need not hoard things. We need not be harsh to anybody. How I handle my own feelings now depends, as I just mentioned, it depends on the personality factors. But there are a lot of things which people have never learned, because these situations have never come in past. So these are the things which need to be taken into that light and understood in a different manner, in a different way, so that we can evolve further from this. And how I look after myself. Now, look after myself, like not being lazy, still doing few things which we have never done in past. We always used to say, I have no time even to die. Now there is a lot of time, because if there is no time, then you will die. So now there is a lot of time here. And then we need to understand what I can't control. So how others behave. So we have no control over it. This we all know. How other people feel, we can't control it. We can empathize with them, but we can't control it. Other people's thoughts and ideas, because there are people, I got somebody this morning, he said this is going to last for 2024, 2024. That is another 4 years. So this is his idea. I can't control it, but I don't need to be affected by it, thinking it to be an original news. And other people's decision, what they are doing and what they are not doing. After this, if we are okay with it, that what I can control and I know, then I will not get anxious or depressed about whatever is going on, and have patience to come out of this whenever the situation becomes right for us. And then once I know that what we should know, and we get onto what we should be doing during this to protect ourselves, to prevent poor mental and physical health, then there is a self-care menu here.
Sir, can you press F5 because we are able to see the presentation? It'll be better if we go into the slideshow. Able to see the slides more better.
Possible?
No, we are back to the screen with the other slides. We're not really being able to see the slideshow properly. Yes, now it's better. So yes, great.
So, yeah. Thank you. So there
Thank
is
you.
a self-care, yeah. Welcome, ma'am. So there is a self-care menu, like as it is self-evident and explanatory here. Take a few deep breaths for 5 minutes every day. Stretch your body for 5 minutes. Listen to your favorite song, which you haven't listened for ages. Meditate on your own purpose, any kind of meditation for 15 minutes. Read a chapter of a book. Now, this is very, very important because generally, whatever we are doing in our life, which is pertaining to our career and pertaining to our studies at that particular moment, but we don't try to enrich ourselves by going through the extra knowledge or the extra books. And there are so many lakhs and lakhs of good books which can actually enrich ourselves from inside. They may not be related to what you are doing in life, but they are related to your life. So, what you behave, how you go on at the times of crisis. So, there are a lot of books which tell you all this. Then journal out your thoughts. Write it for 15 minutes. Writing a diary, we call it. Take a walk outside. If police doesn't stop you, you can walk outside. Otherwise on your roof or in a park, if there is a park open, or around your house or within your balcony. Get crafty. Do something which you haven't tried your hands upon, and cook a new recipe. Now I'm doing this quite a lot these days, and this is something very, very interesting, because you need to learn a lot of new things. You experiment, you get the courage to experiment with life, by doing this. And uh, and then you get the applause also from your family, because they can't you have started working and sharing their work, so they will definitely appreciate with whatever you have cooked. So don't worry. Then there is a 5-day love yourself challenge. So now this is because these are the things which you never get time to when you are working on regular basis, 6 days a week or 5 days a week, 18 hours a day or 12 hours a day. Okay, one. Now this was designed thinking that the lockdown will extend for 5 days. Now it is for 5 months, I believe. So this needs to be repeated every 5 days, and this is a wonderful thing. And you feel good. You feel thrilled after doing it. You feel happiness from inside. Write down what you love about you rather than waiting from others to tell you what they love about you, because that's very, very rare. Day two is create a happiness playlist. And day three is practice self-affirmations. Now, self-affirmations, as we keep on discussing about during the therapy sessions, our psychologists do them, our students do them. Now, these self-affirmations are very, very important to sail through these troubled times, where every day looks like that this might be the end of my life. I might not survive to see the sun of the other day. I might not get up in the morning. If I have seen somebody suffering from corona or any disease, like for that matter, which is contagious, in my neighborhood or in my community, because there are a lot of containments happening, a lot of sealing happening, a lot of hot zones happening. So, you see, all these media is giving you kind of fear in everything. So, as you can see, I accept myself, I trust myself, I can, I will. Then day four is cook yourself a nice meal first, and you can cook for yourself and it's come out nice, then cook for others. Please don't take chance, right? First you cook for yourself. And then day five is approach your problems with mindfulness, understanding that how much of it is relevant, how much of it is rational to think, and how much of it is actually going to take me away. So the people say that the world is now Vegas. Everybody is losing money. It's acceptable to drink at all hours, and no one has any idea what day it is. Now we need to understand that what kind of approach we need to follow when we are going through all this, apart from the tips which I have given you. We need to follow a calm yet cautious approach. Do your best to remain calm and be mindful, not to contribute to the widespread panic. Because as I gave you an example of this person in the morning, if I talk like this, that would also create a panic. That can hinder efforts to positively manage the outbreak by all of us. The government, we are the equal party with the government into this. Ensure you are following directives issued by the government, medical advice, and observe good hygiene habits. And as I already discussed, show kindness to others and compassion and actively manage your well being. Now, the people who have been quarantined or who are into self isolation because of their travel history or because of one of the family members being sick, now there are strategies for them to cope with social distancing. So going into a period of social distancing, self isolation quarantine may feel daunting or overwhelming and can contribute to feelings of helplessness. and fear. In addition to the whatever I have told you, there are few more things which needs to be encouraged. What should be your perspective at this time? Try to see this time as unique and different, not necessarily bad, because bad is only the outcome, and we don't know what is the outcome going to be. We can only see the situation right now that this is unprecedented and this is unique. It may not be bad, even if something which you did not necessarily choose because it was not in our control, it just happened. Think of creative ways to stay connected with others, including social media. Now, as what I've been telling people these days, that suppose you are living in a society, you always have a WhatsApp group of that society. Rather than sharing the rumors and fake news, if you share the good news, something which can give them some knowledge, not about Corona. We need not talk about Corona every time. Corona is there, so we are talking about it. But there are many more things which maybe you can share a recipe, you can share a quote from a book, you can share something which is unavailable to them, and that would be very very nice for them. They will get enriched and they will feel obliged, and be generous to others. Stay connected with your values. Now, this is also very, very important. Staying connected with your values means don't let fear or anxiety drive your interactions with others. And because we are all in this together, you can see these slides. There's some humor in this. Robert Frost had written a poem about there being two roads and the road less traveled. So he says the today's quarantine or the curfew says there were two roads. I avoided both and stayed home. So he felt better. He survived out of this. And these days, there is one more issues on the lighter side that people are wearing masks at home also, not only to avoid pollution or the infection, to avoid extra eating also. Because everybody is, people have told me that they've been eating quite a lot, staying at home. And we are experiencing the only time in history where lazy people have better chances of survival. This is, you see, this phase of life would be remembered as the survival of the laziest. The people who are not moving, who are inside, they are going to survive this crisis. That's for sure. And there are a few slides. So I was talking of the strategies to cope. So the daily routine. Now the thing that people have, they've been telling me that we can't get up. We are mostly awake at night and we are sleeping the whole day because we have nothing to do. There is no stimulation. There is nothing we can think of. So all these things which I told you about maintaining an exercise routine and reading a book and those 5-point challenges and those understanding what we can do and what we cannot do, that will help into this maintaining a routine, because you still need to prioritize few things which you have never done. Maybe you have not set your clothes right. Maybe you have not tried your hands on washing the clothes or whatever, because we always thought that it is the duty of the spouse or the duty of the maid servants to do it. But why can't we try doing it ourselves? Why can't we learn something new or resume something which we used to do when we were in our hostel life? And some of you still are. So you need to understand these things, that you have to maintain a routine that keeps your melatonin, which works on the circadian rhythm in your brain, at the right place. Okay, otherwise, you are in a jet lag phase. You travel quite a lot and you sleep at odd hours, you wake up at odd hours, and you're confused all the time. So we are kind of jet lag because we have spoiled our sleep wake schedule right now. So we need to be very, very careful about it. And try to see this as a new and unusual period that might even have some benefits. Now, what are the benefits which we can have? We can have benefits like learning new skills. We can connect with those people whom we haven't talked to for years. My friends in US, I called them and they felt happy. They did. So people have been calling those relatives whom they never used to bother about. So now people are doing that, and that's producing a connect in the society, because we are. I'm again repeating this thing that we are all together into this. So we need to be connected with each other and limit your exposure. This is my another statement. I'm repeating it here. Limit your exposure to media and news. Limit your exposure, because that is something which we can't handle as much. So it is creating a lot of negativity inside us. And choose only a specific time of the day, maybe twice a day, that you need to watch this news. If you want to see the press conference of the health secretary or MHA people or whatever, which is more relevant and scientific and which is real. So go for that rather than flipping through the channels and going through which channel is predicting what. That's very, very important. Then everybody reacts differently to different situations, as we know, on the basis of personality factors. So we need to work on those areas, and this is the time because we are now introspecting much more. We have time to do that these days. So we have time to actually develop ourselves in a more mature manner, as a more mature individual also. And whatever happens with Corona, few months, few weeks from now, this learning and this enrichment which we are going to have now, this is going to be with us for rest of our life. So please make sure that don't get worried. Don't just try to shun off this worry. Be realistic and then try to calm down, keep a cautious approach. Make sure that you are not deterred by the current so-called crisis, because this crisis may be unprecedented, may be new, but this is something which is going to pass. Anything has passed. The earthquakes have come, the tsunamis have come, so many things have come, but they ultimately they have passed. And I'll end my presentation with this. I think so many people have read this. This is a very purani nazam of Gulzar. बेवजह घर से निकलने की जरूरत क्या है, मौत से आंखें मिलाने की जरूरत क्या है, सबको मालूम है बाहर की हवा कातिल है, यूं ही कातिल से उलझने की जरूरत क्या है, एक नियामत है जिंदगी, एक नियामत है जिंदगी, उसे संभाल के रख, कब्रिस्तान को सजाने की जरूरत क्या है, दिल के बहलाने को घर में ही वजह काफी है, यूं ही गलियों में भटकने की जरूरत क्या है. With that, I'll end my presentation, Sonia ji. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. We can take some questions now. There are a few
Yeah,
questions.
sure.
There was a question regarding sleep, which I have answered in your presentation, so we'll not look at that. There's another
Okay.
question, and this is from a special educator. So the question is, can we give some simple and easy remedies to parents to control mood swings of children with special needs at school, at home, sorry.
Yeah, sure. So we need to understand that not all children and teens, they respond to the same way. We are talking of adults, but with teens, there's a major issue. So some common changes to be watched in the children during this, because most of the children are online education right now and they're staying at home. So I remember the parents used to coming to me during summer vacations telling me these 2 months are going to be hell, doctor, because my child is not going to the school for 2 months. Please do something, tell me something how to handle him. And it's not only about the hyperactive children, it's about all the children. Because children of this age, they are very, very inquisitive, they are very, very active, and they are so much onto mobiles and gaming that their mind, is working like rocket. So we need to see the few symptoms if there are some changes in the child. This is what you were asking, ma'am?
Yes, the question is what to do about the mood swings that might come because of staying at home. Because there's reduction in activity and there are mood swings that are coming.
Okay. So I'll give you answer to that. So what we need to understand that your child is also a citizen or a part of this COVID-19 outbreak condition or crisis, as we call it. So we need to involve him into the discussion about the COVID-19 outbreak whenever we are talking of things. Of course, the logical talking, as I just explained to you everything, not about the fake news and all that. And they might be having a lot of questions. So please answer them so that they don't misinterpret their questions and their queries, and they might find it out from Google or somewhere else, and they might end up learning bad things about it or wrong things. And reassure your child that you are safe inside the house. Don't go out to play. Don't meet your friends right now, but you're always there on WhatsApp calling with somebody. Stay in touch with your friends. It is the same as the online coaching or the online schooling is happening. The same way you can be online with your friends rather than physically meeting them at the same time. But at the same time, what is more important, which I might have missed in my presentation earlier, that it is the parents' duty or the parents' prerogative to involve children into those kind of activities which they never got time to do, like playing board games, which is very, very important. involving them in cooking or maybe doing the household chores. I don't know how many people have actually played board games with their children in past so many years. Maybe it happens so it's reserved only for Sundays, and one of the days, even one of the weekends goes for a waste, and one is not able to enjoy this kind of liberty. So these things need to be involved, and then again, as the our exposure to the news needs to be like limited, the same way the children's exposure to the news also to be limited, and they also have to keep the regular routine. Like their online classes are already happening in mostly in first half of the day, like the school used to run, and then in second half they should be encouraged to learn something new. If their hobbies, like somebody wants to play guitar or somebody wants to play Scrabble or whatever their hobbies are, that needs to be developed right now. We need to support them into this. So mood swings happen because of this helplessness which comes in children, because they are even more eager to go out. If they are playing, if they're meeting friends, or to go to the market to buy something, or ordering from outside food. Now, even ordering outside food is like very, very risky these days, as we know from the news. So all these things, so children need to be supported completely.
There's another question, and this is that elderlies are especially anxious right now because a lot of elderlies are not able to understand the whole concept. Even if they are seeing news, it's more of how many deaths, or they don't really understand the full concept. So what can we do about anxieties of the elderlies?
Okay. So, ma'am, there are two types of elderly people. One who are staying within the family with the people with us, and there are elderly who are staying away. Suppose somebody is locked down in Bengaluru or in Hyderabad or in Chennai because of his work, and his parents are here. Suppose. So now they're more worried. But in today's era, because of the video calling and everything, it is very, very important. Maybe when somebody is working at a far off place, and the parents are staying or the elderly people are staying in a different city altogether, you talk to them on weekend basis. But because you don't have time, one doesn't have time, but this is the time when one needs to be in touch with them maybe twice a day and share with their experiences and give them a lot of reassurance. Give them a lot of reassurance. Apart from caution, a lot of reassurance is needed, so that, and it can be over the phone, it can be over the WhatsApp. I've seen people are playing the Tambola as a group. A lot of Tambola groups are happening these days, and whatnot. There's a lot of games happening. People are sharing their old pictures with their parents as a kids and all that. So everything is being revisited these days, something which people have just put into the recycle bin earlier. So these things are coming to the screen. They are coming onto the forefront right now, and which is actually rejuvenating and strengthening the relationship between the elderly people and the young generation. So this is very, very important. So this is what I said, that this pandemic has got some benefits also. So this is one of the benefits, that people are the family ties are getting stronger these days.
Thank you for the answer. There's another question that's saying that how do we deal with this negative thinking and inner chattering of mind, especially because we do need to keep ourselves updated with the news, and the news obviously is negative. So how do we maintain like this negative, like if we get into a loop of negative thinking, what can we do about it?
So this slide, the self-care menu, I hope it's visible on the screen. So this slide tells us about how to take care of yourself in a more systematized manner, in a more organized manner. So if we actually try doing this every day, and we can always, after a week, it might become a little boring. So we can change what kind of craft we are doing, what kind of book we are reading, so that inner chattering will stop by listening to music, by reading something which is coming from outside. You know why inner chattering happens? Because the outside stimulation is stopped now, or it is very, very less, and whatever is happening, it is only through the news. There is more of negativity, only the negativity rather. So with this, we are trying to strengthen ourselves from inside, which is important right now. So this explains the answer to your question.
So certain people also, this is another question that is there, that certain people right now obviously are having there is a lot of uncertainties in terms of their jobs being there, or jobs getting lost, or especially young children who were just about to enter the market.
Right.
The market becoming so uncertain with the job scenarios. Is there
Right.
what can be there? How can they approach this?
I believe what we need to understand here is that whatever is happening, we are not the only one. It's happening with everybody in the world, which is a very, very big thing. So whatever outcome we may face, that is going to be common to all of us. So we need to stay put, we need to stay calm, cautious. Like when the share market fall, a lot of people, I think, bought a lot of shares that day, So with that, what they did, whatever savings they had exhausted into this. Now they're worried because the lockdown has been extended. So they're worried about their savings. Now what to do? Now they cannot take out that money back because the share market is still low, right? So one need to understand that as far as the jobs are concerned, as far as the job securities are concerned, as far as the saving part of the money is concerned, it's happening with all of us. We are into this all together. So we need not worry. We just need not be impulsive at this time. We need not take irrational decisions. We need not take the decisions which we feel is going to make us rich overnight or something like I'm going to lose my job. What will I do? Because if somebody loses the job, there will be job opportunities, of course. As haven't they lost jobs in past? They have. There was no corona at that time. So the people who have been good workers, they will stay, and the companies are devising policies for that. If you go on CNN, then you see a lot of those things which is happening all over the world. In US, 2.5 million people have already lost their jobs, but still everybody is staying put and waiting for the right time to come.
Right. Especially, there's a question that the caregivers, how should they deal with the compassion fatigue? Because now the responsibility of, taking care of children, elderlies is falling onto functional caregivers, and there is obviously excessive burden that is there. So, what can we do about the compassion fatigue that the functional caregiver might be facing? Because there is a job responsibility along with that, the household responsibility. So there is this burnout that especially functional people are going to face. So what can we do about that? Is there something that you like to?
Yes, yes, yes. So the compassion fatigue happening in those people who are carers, whether they are carers of the otherwise sick people, like there are a lot of, I'll just give you an example. There are a lot of dialysis patients in our country, whose dialysis happens 3 times a week, and they have to be taken to the hospital, and they have to stand in a long queue because very few hospitals are functioning. Then there are carers who are actually dealing with the corona patients, at this time. So whether they are the hospital workers or they are the family members of the corona patient, so they are the caretakers. Now there has to be a compassion fatigue. There is no doubt about it. But I believe if we put them into two groups, the people who are in the hospital, who are used to deal with these kind of things, though this is little blown out of proportion right now because it's a pandemic. So the doctors and the nurses, you must have seen all over the world, despite getting infected themselves, they are still on the go. They are still on the job. They are still doing. There can be a lot of issues about the proper protection or not, but you can see that all over the world this is happening. Now, as far as there is a patient in the family, so there is always a rule that if there is a patient, he goes to the hospital and you are quarantined. Now, sitting at home, you're thinking about your loved ones, how is he doing? But there is always, because there is a daily update about the patient from the hospital, you can always call the doctor or the staff at the hospital and find out. So that is there. So compassion fatigue is happening in those people who are very much into the care of these patients. So they also need to believe that they have to follow a routine themselves rather than keep on thinking 24/7 about the patients. Like you must have seen the doctors who have not been able to go back their homes because of the fear of infecting their families. They're staying in hotels for weeks together now. But there is a group. So as a group, maybe they are playing tambola there. Maybe whenever they are off duty, maybe they are chatting, maybe they are playing antakshari or whatever. So a lot of things which we used to do when we were kids. So all those things are coming back. So India or world, if I say, and not to be quoted anywhere, might be going back 20 years, but that was a better India, where there were people were talking to each other, people were caring for each other, and they were together as a family. So that is happening. So people from that age group now they have less chances of developing a compassion fatigue. The people in the younger generation, if they follow these principles, what I have told you, they will also be able to save themselves from this world.
So resiliency is improved with a lot of positive activities. Right. Another question that is there is that, there was recently a news about child abuse and domestic violence increasing because of the lockdown, especially in families where there is conflict. So domestic violence and child abuse increasing. So is there any suggestion that you'd like to give around this topic also?
I believe if we come to know about any such case, though I believe because now everybody is together in the family, the chances of it being caught or being recognized is very, very high, because the child abuse or these kind of things used to happen when you find a child alone, or something like that. But you see, at the same time, the good part is that because the family is together, these cases can be found out very fast. And we must know that our police and our law is working very fast and at rapid pace these days. And every case needs to be reported for others to learn a lesson from this. And at the same time, if somebody has become a victim of the abuse, that child needs to be counseled.
Think that's about, yeah, one more question we'll take, and probably
One more thing, I'm sorry. One more thing I'll add to this answer. You see, with the passage of time, see, when a crisis comes initially, we are into a shock. Then comes the later on, then there comes the irritability, and then there comes the acceptance phase. So maybe after 3rd of May, we are going to into an acceptance phase where people are going to be much more calmer and much more patient. You know, so we just need to look towards that.
how should OCD be looked in current scenario? Because everybody is now the normality of washing hands and keeping hygiene is going to be the new normal. So how should we look at that?
So it's very funny that one of my patients called me who used to wash her hands about 200 times in a day. And she called me and she asked me, do I still need to continue the medication? Now the whole world is suffering from OCD, doctor. You still want me to give the medicines? So I told her that your fear is irrational and that's why you do it. And this is a rational fear because of which people are doing it. So yes, you need to continue with the treatment. So the OCD people right now, I think on the other hand, I would see that they are getting a more rational understanding that now people are washing hands because there was a reason. There is a reason. And earlier they were washing it without an actual reason. That was all in their mind. So OCD people, I have seen some of them are improving on their own also, understanding this concept.
Really, that's very interesting to highlight. And yes, it is, I think the thought behind matters, and that is how we look at rationality and irrationality also. There is another question that is there which we have answered, but she's been repeatedly writing it. So would you like to just repeat, how do we conquer depression in the current situation? Because it is expected that a lot of people might have depression, like the rates of depression might increase. So can we do something preventively, which I understand that self-care menu would help, but anything above that, over and above that also?
Sure. So here, to answer this, I'll put people into two groups, two categories. The people who are already suffering from depression and their depression has escalated. And the people who never had depression, they are feeling depressed. Now we need to understand the people who have been onto medication or on the treatment, they are cautioned not to leave their medicines at all. They can have online consultation, they can have online therapies, which is happening everywhere. In our center also, it is happening on regular basis. But the people who have never been depressed, so they are feeling depressed. Maybe they are just getting hopeless. They are not getting depressed. They're getting hopeless, and they have a feeling of helplessness. But they are getting depressed because they feel that there is no support system for them, because it is their thinking that they might be alone into this crisis, which is not true. As I just explained, we all are together into this, so we need to find it out together, and there is no need to be depressed. Everywhere there is help and support system available for all of us, whether we are living alone, whether we are in quarantine, whether we are in isolation, whether we are inside the family, whether we are in Maldives, whether we are in Gujarat, whether we are in Delhi, the support system is there for all of us. So one need not be depressed. And of course, the menu, self-care menu, and other things, as reading a book and all that, as I explained, that will help.
Right. There is another question that generally people, especially people who are working currently, are getting frustrated with the use of sanitizers and cleaning their hands again and again. How should they approach this hygiene routine, and what thought or what affirmation can help them?
So as we know that initially there was a news that in Japan, the number of corona cases are very, very low to begin with, because most of them, they wear masks and they wear gloves when they go out. And there is a sanitizer kept outside the office building everywhere, all over the country. But now we can see that they have the cases in thousands also. They also have the cases. But at the same time, we need to understand that this fear has to be rational and logical. And there are guidelines issued by the government which says that if you're going out of the house, wear a mask. If you're going to buy grocery or you're going to a general store, please wear gloves also. Don't touch anything directly. Whatever you buy, you clean that with an alcohol wipe. Alcohol is not available anymore. The thekas are closed. With alcohol wipes, and of course with soap water or lukewarm water. But once you are interacting with people, that social distancing, which is very, very important. So one need to understand that we need to take all those precautions, because thinking about taking those precautions and then not being able to take it is more dangerous as compared to thinking less about it and taking those precautions on time. So this fear should not multiply in our minds, because we can see that in a population of 130 million, we are still, I think, 18,000 cases still now which are infected, despite so much of population density. So government is doing a very nice job for that, and it's because most of us, I'm sorry, are cooperating with that. You know, so that's why we need to be careful, cautious, as I said, and calm, not panicky about it.
Right. So last question, and I think we'll end the question and answers with this question. As a psychology community, because most of the, I think, attendees right now are either psychologists or aspiring to be psychologists. What kind of, how should our approach be towards the general community? Like, what kind of communication should
As a psychologist, or as being a psychiatrist, it is our duty to help people in this era of crisis. The number of people who are suffering from corona, if you multiply them by 1 lakh or 10 lakhs, those number of people are suffering from stress and anxiety right now, reading about corona. So there is a much more wider group of people which need to be addressed by the psychologist. So this is our job. This is our job to educate them. Either there is so much of social media. We put so many pictures on Instagram. We do so many Twitters and whatnot, so many handles. But if we can do this genuine work of counseling and consoling people that there is nothing too much wrong with us, kindly stay at home, kindly take care of yourself. There are many things which you were not able to do earlier. Do it now. So this is what our job is. The onus lies onto the psychology community. This is how we need to go about. This is our job, because once we get back to the work onto the regular routine, then we might only be doing maybe 1-to-1. We might not be doing a mass therapy or a mass counseling or whatever, is in our domain. But this is the time that one needs to do that.
I would like to thank all the participants. We had about 50 participants who joined us. Thank you very much, all of you, for asking so many questions. And thank you, Dr. Jain, for answering each of them. I'm really sorry if I missed out on some questions in the chat.
I can answer more.
Let me just see. I think we have been able to answer most of the questions. Yes, there's one question that
because I finished my presentation pretty fast, so we can take more questions.
There's this one question that is saying that why do people, break rules of lockdown? Why are they not obeying social distancing and attacking doctors?
You know, when somebody, am I audible?
Yes.
Okay. So there are categories of people. There are few people who are anti-establishment, who are rebellions. So these are the people who are breaking the lockdown. And sometimes, as a human tendency, when we are asked, start from a little child, he's asked not to play a PS4. He will definitely look out for an opportunity to do it. He will ask not to take pizza or burger from outside. He will definitely try to look for it. So this quality, so-called, if we can call it a quality, this goes on even into adulthood if we don't work on it or our parents did not work on it. So that's why people are doing all kind of silly things.
Okay, there's another question which is there, and because we have a little time, we'll just take this. That how should we talk to children about this pandemic situation without scaring them or doing it out of proportion?
I think I answered this question earlier. So we need to involve them into our discussion so that we can tell them what is the realistic situation is, so that they don't get panicky about it. Because somebody who is into his teens is been using a lot of social media and getting confused about what is being written there. So they might even get more worried, and their anxieties can be projected onto the parents also inside the house. The child will become irritable, he might become withdrawn because he might have fear for his own life. So all these things need to be taken into consideration, that all the people inside the house as a unit need to work and discuss things together. And we need not discuss corona all the time. The corona should be discussed 10 to 11 in the morning or 5 to 6 in the evening kind of thing. Yeah, like we give 2 hours to discuss the crisis, but other things, other times, we are discussing, okay, what's there in food today, what is to be played today, what new game is there, what news. You see, there are a lot of seasons these days on Netflix and Amazon and Hotstar. People can be diverted towards them. They're wonderful serials. If people have not seen them, I would suggest them to go for it. It is very much time consuming, it is enriching, there's a lot of comedy, there's a lot of laughter, and there's a lot of stimulation to your mind, which is not happening from outside otherwise.
Thank you, sir. Thank you again. Like I said, there are about 250 participants who were there. And I would like to thank all the participants for asking wonderful questions and making this discussion interesting. I would also like to extend my thank you on behalf of IBHAS, Amity University, and the Amity Universe. Also, saying thank you to you for taking our time, being so patient in answering all the questions to detail. There might be certain questions which are might take a little while for people to understand, because it's like all of us are in this together, and it is a evolving time that is there. And somebody said that this self-isolation should also be looked at as self-discovery, what you said, sir. Thank you so much for being with us. And
thank you very much for inviting me here. Thanks a lot.
We have about 5 minutes more.
Yeah. So this is the last slide on the lighter side. You see this? Finally, COVID-19 is gone. Now, how do we get out of the door? The people are just living around and eating quite a lot. There are a lot of things like this. We are getting it in the media these days. So anyway, with that, I end my presentation. There is any more question I can answer?
There are a lot of positive feedback saying thank you to you for giving such informative. All right. I think we're getting a lot of positive comments from everybody saying thank you. And I thank you again on behalf of everyone. We'll try and send this across to everybody. Thank you, sir. Thank you. Good day.
Thank you very much for